Hey, what's good, fight fans? This your man Wood. Thanks for pressing play on another Bite Down Boxing video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the like button if if you want to rock with some unbiased commentary on the fight game. It's kind of what I'm trying to do. Just keep it keep it neutral. Seems like right now biased is the new unbiased. But let's get into it, man. Tonight was the Super Saturday, headlined by Kovalev Alvarez 2, or Alvarez versus Kovalev, depending on where you're coming from with it. I'm a Redskins fan, so sitting here checking out the action at the Ford Center, I believe is what it's called, at the Dallas Cowboys compound or complex or campus. Shout out to Jerry Jones for being an entrepreneur and liking and being here for all the smoke. We had Terrence Crawford, obviously top ranks, one of their hottest assets, had him ringside, and we also had the PBC's Errol Spence Jr. Very close to ringside, but he was in attendance. What else was out there? A good show, good show. Where do I want to start? Let's get into the Richard Comey going for the vacant IBF super lightweight belt against Isa Chaniev. I kind of played around with that this week with a new featured column that I'm running with on bitedownboxing.com, kind of incorporating music, which would usually be hip hop, into the website. And with Comey being I'm doing a sound for sound instead of pound for pound, where I'm just talking about the hip hop or music that might be inspiring the fighters, in training camp, doing road work, sparring, or strength and conditioning sessions and whatnot. So that's what sound for sound is all about. Please go over to bitedownboxing.com and check out. I'm just two installments into that. One being the inaugural post featured J. Cole. This week's post, like I said, was kind of tied into Richard Comey. I didn't do a breakdown of any of the action this week. I was a little busy, and but I did I did participate in the staff prediction over at roundbyroundboxing.com. Feel free to go over there and check me out. I do want to pat myself on the back. I took Sergey Kovalev. We'll get into that in just a minute. Looking at these fights, like I said, Comey against Chaniev, I didn't have a lot of familiarity. I didn't have any familiarity with Isa Chaniev, but it looks like it only went 2 rounds. I saw the replay. Comey looking, heavy-handed. He wins the opportunity to face Vasil Lomachenko. I'm still on Lomachenko is not at his ideal weight at lightweight. And I think Comey might not have the quickness and the creativity in his game and the experience to maybe deal with Lomachenko heads up. But with the size advantage, decent punching power, that's a fight that he could make Lomachenko look like a little man. He could. Lomachenko is short armed. He needs volume pretty much for his knockouts, and I don't know. Comey could do some things there. It's possible. But tonight, not much resistance whatsoever from Chaniev. I've said this before. you can't overlook the fact of when you're a younger fighter or when you're going for that world title. This was Commey's second shot at it. But you can't overlook the benefit of going for a vacant title versus beating a champion. And Commey might be able to, I mean, he's going to be able to parlay this into the most lucrative purse of his fighting career to turn around and get a shot at the pound for pound, not my pound for pound number one, but going against the pound for pound guy, Kingpin in Lomachenko in April. So shout out to him. Humble guy. I like Commey. It was a very well fought, highly contested fight with him and Easter Jr., Robert Easter Jr. back in 2016 on Bounce TV, I believe. So shout out to him for staying around, for him sticking it out and keeping himself positioned for when he had a chance to capitalize, on a shot at a world title. Moving on, Oscar Valdez, and I didn't do a podcast this week. I didn't do an audio-only podcast. I was running behind because what I had tonight, technical difficulties with the ESPN Plus app, and then also the DAZN app has been bugging out the last 2 weeks with how the hell to see what I'm trying to see. So I was a little behind. And then I had the Fox Sports Go app was bugging too. So I didn't even get to see last week's cutting that cord. Cutting that cord comes with consequences and repercussions. But Oscar Valdez against Carmine Tomasson, 7-round TKO. I was able to see most of this. Valdez just outclassed him, punished him. Tomasson was down twice in round 4, once in the 6th and the 7th, and wanted to continue on. I thought the referee, Mark Nelson, was a little early in pulling the plug on this one and waving it off, but Tomasson, she said yes. He got his bag tonight, and he got the girl. He didn't get the win, but he wasn't going to get the win. So, good return for Oscar Valdez. I did not see the Patrick Day fight against Ismail Iliev. I was moving a little bit tonight, doing some time over at the in-laws, and had some issues, like I said, with the ESPN Plus app that would not freaking show the action. So, the Bakram Murtazaliev against Elvin Ayala. See, that one ended in a TKO. I saw the early rounds. I think I might have saw to round 6 in that one. But I thought he should have gotten Ayala out of there, so I see that he did. So good on that one. Let's jump into it, man. The Teofimo Lopez, the takeover rolls along. Lopez is a special kid. Special fighter. The story here is the referee Gregorio Alvarez. Horrible job. I mean, horrible job. Clueless. Just terrible job. He was trying to count Magdaleno out after Magdaleno had been battered and broken down, and the 2 left hooks that he sustained before, that sent him to the canvas in the 7th round, those should have never happened. Earlier in the 7th round, as Teofimo Lopez was taking apart Magdaleno, he's 10 feet or more away from the action. I don't know what was going on there. He was clueless in administering the 10 count. He was clueless standing by after the fight. And, Lopez had a bad moment because as a young fighter, I believe he might be, he's 22. I thought he was a year older than Devin Haney. But it's no reason to go heel unnecessarily. I watched Lopez's thoughts on Adrian Broner and Pacquiao, and a lot of what he had to say I thought was very spot on, and I thought he was a wise young guy. But here on Fight Night, he took an L for his brand. And he's an exciting fighter. He's skilled, power in both hands. He's creative. He's going to be a problem to deal with at lightweight. He's going to be a problem to deal with at super lightweight. And like I said, it's no need to lose your widespread popularity just because you don't know better. You can be cocky. You can be confident. You can be flamboyant. You can be skilled. You can put people away. But you should never put aside fighter safety. And tonight, with the celebration, he crossed the line. And like I said, he's an exciting guy. And for him to go third person with, Teofimo Lopez is a guy, you can like him, you can hate him, you're going to tune in. You didn't need to give us the Adrian Broner play with this victory. Show some class. You were dominant. You broke this man down from the second round on. You outclassed him. You punished him. Like I said, the two finishing shots, just two beautiful left hands. Just being aware of the moment, seeing what was in front of you, knowing what was going on, knowing that was the time to abandon getting rounds and maybe going to decision, looking to finish this guy and put him away. That was beautiful. But to come over, I thought he was doing the I need a new shovel and shoveling some dirt on Magdaleno. But it was actually his baseball swing, which is pretty one part of his normal post-fight celebrations. But just unnecessary here. And to stand over the man and taunting, you had soundly defeated him. It was earlier in the fight where Magdaleno was talking a little bit of trash, but as he got beat down, like I said, he had no reason being there in the seventh round, as the on-air people let you know. But Gregorio Alvarez just very just a heinous job out there in allowing that to take place and not being on his post. Could you imagine if Steve Willis was watching that beating and where he would have been in the facial expressions and how tuned in to the fight and the moment and what was happening? That should have never happened. But a good win, beautiful performance. You can say what you want with Devin Haney. It's some levels between those two guys. I put on the Facebook post that Lopez operated from outside and mid-range the way that Devin Haney wanted to do against Indonjini a couple weeks ago on Showbox. Lopez got the results that Haney wanted in trying to do that, walk his man down, punishing, get the knockout, and it didn't happen. He got the decision. Lopez tonight took a very durable man and broke him up and put him away, closed the show. So, but like I said, this is hopefully it's a learning experience. I see people online jumping on the kid, talking about he's street trash, he's classless, all of that. Let's give this young man a chance to rebound. He said in the post fight is entertainment. It is entertainment, and you do have to entertain, but you can also show some empathy. You can also understand when you're the better man, clearly, and you can exercise some restraint or some humility And it would have been nothing wrong to go over to him and, show some sportsmanship, show some concern for the man's well-being. Him being there allowed you to get more rounds, allowed you to show growth and development. You got a seventh round knockout. Him being there and not quitting in the second and third round and fighting on allowed you to showcase more stuff. Allowed us to get a better understanding of how you might look against a big money fight against a Vasyl Lomachenko. He's there playing an important role in the big picture, and you need to be mindful of that. But again, I'm not going to jump on the man because we've gone out of our way to talk about his post-fight celebrations, just like Nikita Bobby on the Zone. We're talking about his dances. They've jumped on that narrative about his post-fight celebrations, and then when one goes outside of the bounds, then you want to attack the kid. And I don't know if that's necessarily right. Let's jump into the main event. Sergey Kovalev comes back against Eleider Alvarez. I would urge you to go check out the roundbyroundboxing.com staff prediction. If I can pat myself on the back again, I won the 2018. I was the boss for picking fights over there and doing the participating in the the fight prediction contests or the columns that we do over there. Shout out to Alex Burgos and the rest of the team over there. I was the number one guy. I missed 2 or 3 fights. I'm not sure how I did that, but I had the best percentage for last year. And tonight, it was crazy because obviously a lot of the staff went with Alvarez. But for some reason, as I sat here and mulled it over, something about Kovalev, I couldn't get it out of my system. And even as I typed up my prediction to send it in, to submit it to be in the staff prediction piece, I felt a little uneasy about it. But your man was right. The judges had it 120 to 108, and then 2 judges had it 116, 112. I had it 115, 113. I didn't agree with Andre Ward's wide score, but he was ringside and possibly saw something differently. Kind of interesting that Ward was brought in to be on the call and moved from the desk back in the back, and they kicked Kriegel off of that. And then it got a little confusing because somewhere in the 4th or 5th round, everybody was talking at different parts in it and whatnot. But it was interesting that they went with Tessitore, Bradley, and Ward for the call on that. Good fight. I felt like Alvarez did what I thought he was going to do in losing his WBO light heavyweight title to Kovalev. I thought Kovalev looked physically. I thought he looked pretty good. Excuse me. I thought he looked in pretty. I thought his body looked a little bit toner, or in that prime or sharp shape that you would want. Versus the last couple of fights, he might have just had a tan. To be honest with you, I don't know. I think he trains. Actually, I don't know if he. I think he often trains down in Florida. But with McGirt being involved, who knows if he came up to New York. But I thought it was simple. I thought McGirt walked him through what he needed to do. I thought he executed a game plan that, I did think through the first 3 rounds. I wasn't hearing a lot of pop on Kovalev's punches. Both of the guys were really dry, as they mentioned, coming out. I don't know why that continues to happen in high-level boxing fights, why we don't see guys with a good lather on them before the fight starts. But yeah, I just didn't think the pop was really there for Sergey, and I was concerned early on because Alvarez was seemed like he was trying to fashion himself as a power puncher and looking to repeat what he did in the first fight, which I thought was an aberration or an anomaly, and that he's just not that guy, honestly. And that's what kind of ended up playing out tonight. I will say, even to the fourth and fifth rounds, I just had some notes that Kovalev, and I guess that was the game plan. It wasn't to be violent. It wasn't to be destructive. Sergey kind of just boxed, touched him enough, and even in the first fight, even with the knockouts, I thought he was tired. I thought it was fatigue knockouts. I really didn't feel like he was completely out of it, although he was knocked down 3 times in that 7th round. I didn't feel like he was really just completely out of it. I felt like it was knockdowns that his body just wasn't right. His legs just weren't there. And as I was listening to some of the different, Tim Bradley was on at the fights Friday night at the fights on Sirius XM Fight Nation, and he was saying that the word was, or Kovalev had told them he was at about 50% going into the first fight. How do you interpret that information, or how do you what's the validity in that statement? I don't know, but I just listened to it and it resonated with me. I really didn't feel like Alvarez really punished him, and it was a heavy-handed knockout where he was on the ground and the dude just and the referee just waved it off. It was more he just wasn't right that night. That's how I looked at it. Very few moments where Alvarez did anything extended or prolonged onslaught or obviously he wasn't able to finish him. But I just thought it was a steady performance from Sergey. He boxed well. Didn't really move in to look for the knockout. Personally, I hate to see that for a guy who we looked at as the crusher, as a, when he was a pound-for-pound guy, and the knockouts were there. I'm like Emmanuel Stewart. I want to see that. I want to see a guy concussed. I want to see the knockout. And now he just might not be about that. I wouldn't say he can go forward in the division and fight another 3 or 4 fights against the other champions with Vazdik and Bivol, Beterbiev, and all of those guys. I wouldn't say he can fight 2 of them. I would say maybe he has a fight with 1 of them, and we'll see what goes from there, how that plays out. But good win. Like I said, I don't know. Alvarez, he kind of was what I thought he was. I just was never blown away with his game. And like I didn't believe that he was all of a sudden out of the blue, some guy. I didn't feel like he was a devastating power puncher. So I'm really not gonna run through I got some notes here, but I just thought it was a smart fight. I thought he listened to McGirt. I thought McGirt saw the fight for what it was and the matchup for what it was. And the smartest thing was that Kovalev just didn't mess it up. And he took some good shots. But again, like I said, Alvarez was never a killer to me. He just wasn't. So that's about it, man. I'm not going to drag this out. Pretty good card tonight overall on ESPN, ESPN Plus. I will say the ESPN Plus app for your phone, I don't know if you experienced the same issues that I experienced, but that joint is trash for the last 2 weeks or 2 events. All it's done is continue to load. Like the normal way, go back 2 months ago, the normal way that I was watching fights and where I was finding the links for fights wasn't working, and you like had to go into it and then search for boxing, and then let the scroll down and let the live thing come up, and then you could press on that and get to it. But the way that I was getting to it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, that wasn't working anymore. And then the same thing with the Zone. For those of you that might have watched the Cheeseman and Garcia fight, the Zone had been bugging out the previous 2 weeks. That's why I didn't have a podcast this week. I think I mentioned that at the top of this. But yeah, these apps, man. If you're gonna be airing these fights, man, you gotta have the stuff together to where fans and subscribers can watch the fight. So look, I'm out of here again. This is your man Wood. Check me out on BiteDownBoxing.com. Check out that Sound for Sound column and let me know, for all my hip hop fans out there, let me know your thoughts on that. Again, BiteDownBoxing.com. Like I said, the Sound for Sound column. Only 2 entries at this point. I'll try to get that filled up to have some more work out there just to talk about what might be inspiring some of these fighters, or at least the fighters with good taste. Check me out on RoundByRoundBoxing.com. Check me out on WomenOfBoxing.com. Just had a nice piece up there on Alicia Baumgartner, who's fighting on the 23rd up in Dearborn, Michigan. And please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that like button. All of that stuff is very important. Very important. More than you know. And then if you want to, leave a comment. I got plenty of free time. I'll holler at people. But let me get on out of here, man. I hope you enjoyed the fights tonight. Super Saturday. Maybe it lived up to what it was supposed to be. And I'm out. 1.